as we saw, Alexander Isak was left out of both the Newcastle squads that played here in St James's Park on Friday night and then Saturday in their last two friendly matches before the start of the season. And of course, Eddie Howe fielded questions on it after both of those games. His words were that he can't select Alexander Isak right now, and he would love to do that, and if he could change things or change Alexander Isak's mind, he said he would have done it yesterday. So he didn't go as far as saying Alexander Isak is refusing to train or refusing to play, but he made it clear, reading between the lines, that Isak's head is probably not in the right place for him to be performing for Newcastle United at the moment, and that is why he is essentially training on his own. I don't think he's seen any of his teammates really since he returned from his self-imposed training visit over to Real Sociedad, when of course he went out there for a week on his own. The rest of the players have all been training as normal in the mornings, and Alexander Isak's been turning up round about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon to put himself through his own paces. So look, it's becoming a bit of a toxic situation, isn't it? Not what Newcastle want ahead of the new season, and Eddie Howe says he doesn't see that changing ahead of their trip to Villa Park in the season opener on Saturday lunchtime. I don't think we're going to see anything definitive to this situation until the transfer window is closed. We know Liverpool have made one bid, £110 million plus add-ons. That was flatly rejected by Newcastle, and I've been saying for a number of weeks now, Newcastle will only allow Alexander Isak to go if, one, they receive a huge offer that they can't refuse, I think anything round about £150 million, and two, they're able to get a ready-made replacement. They tried and failed for Benjamin Sesko last week. Of course, he went to Manchester United, and it feels like the options for Newcastle are now very thin on the ground. So I think as the days go on, it's becoming increasingly likely that Alexander Isak will remain a Newcastle United player this window. And of course, bridges are going to have to be mended, because the Newcastle fans are not happy with what they've seen from his conduct over the last couple of weeks. So it feels like a lot of work is going to have to be done behind the scenes to ensure that they can get together. Newcastle need him, he needs Newcastle, and move on into the start of the season.
Jamie Carragher has said something interesting today. He's questioned how Isak and Ugo Ekitike would work together. Now, this is what Jamie has said. When you have a top striker like Isak, Haaland, Kane, it's very difficult to have quality backup, as they always play. 80 million is too much to pay for a backup. Where does Ekitike get his minutes in his position, not fudging it by putting him on the left? Hard to play together when you spent 115 million on Wirtz. And yes, we do need to buy attackers. Rob, Jamie's got a point there, hasn't he?
Well, he knows his football, Jamie Carragher, and he knows Liverpool better than anybody. Look, he's absolutely right. It feels a bit like fantasy football that Liverpool are playing right now in Arne Slot. Just, if these players are available, go and get them. But as somebody said to me today who's watching this deal from the outside, said, if you can get Alexander Isak, why wouldn't you? Strengthen when you're strong. And these are the reigning Premier League champions. I'm surprised, personally, how many changes Liverpool have made, bringing in Wirtz, bringing in Ekitike, changing both fullbacks after the departure of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Departure of Alexander-Arnold. It feels like it's going to be a very different-looking Liverpool lineup at the start of the season than the one that finished the season when they lifted the Premier League title. So it does seem a little bit strange, but I'm not so sure Carragher's exactly right in saying that you can't play Ekitike and Isak if they were to get him, because I've looked into it, and Ekitike's played quite a lot on the left wing. 9 games he's played there in the last 2 seasons. And you just imagine that as a front three, by the way. Ekitike on the left, Isak up the middle, Mo Salah on the right, with Florian Wirtz as a number 10 attacking midfielder in behind them. Wow. That could be absolutely explosive. But, of course, we also know that Liverpool are going to be competing in 4 different competitions again. So they're going to need those options. We saw Arsenal started the season before last with a lot of striking options. Then they got a couple of injuries, and suddenly they didn't have any strikers. Liverpool don't want to be in that position. So, look, I would not question Jamie Carragher at all. He knows what he's talking about. He's an expert in this area and the club. But I think this is a statement of intent from Arne Slot and for Liverpool if they can get Isak on top of the business they've already done. And they will find a way, because all of those front players are pretty flexible in where they can play. And, boy, what attacking options they would have.